The following is a special presentation brought to you by the Miscraft Broadcasting channel on YouTube, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. And we will be back after this for Miscraft Cup Series Racing.
We welcome you to the beautiful beaches of Daytona Beach, Florida for the NASCAR Irwin Tools Cup Series 2005 season.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fire Lane NASCAR Talk Show. This is your one-stop shop for all NASCAR news regarding Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series and the Stop Motion Series on YouTube. And here are the drivers that made it into the Final Four. Kevin Harvick was not happy with the way he was raced last weekend. It's race day here at the Daytona International Speedway. We're going to have two races today. We're going to have a qualifying race and the big dance for 12 laps here to find out who your champion will be for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3. And so with this new race coming out for the Miscraft Cup Series, we got a lot of guys wondering what are we going to have to do to be able to win that championship and secure a spot in the top three classifications of drivers, or at least the top classification of drivers. I'm not sure who's going to get it. There's four drivers going for it. You got William Byron, you got the 19 Daniel Suarez, and you also have Alex Bowman and Eric Jones. A lot of young guys, four young drivers looking for a championship here in the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series finale, and it's gonna be a good one, that's for sure. And with the new way of racing here, with the banking, with all of that other stuff, these guys have never had this. Some of these guys will be racing in the Cup Series as well for the first time. That's why we're gonna have a qualifying race to go ahead and get everything started out with. And then we're going to move on into the big race, the 12-lap dash to the finish to figure out who will be our NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 champion. Now, before we get going today, we got to make sure that we understand what exactly we are doing here today at the Daytona International Speedway. We'll have a 3-lap qualifying race, a last chance qualifier, 20 Xfinity cars. Last 5 do not make it to the Daytona 500. Then we're going to have 25 cars already lined up. Those will be drivers that have run at least at least all of the races in the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 season. So if you run all of the races in the season, you will be automatically qualified. Now, the driver that won the first race will be starting on the pole, and that is AJ Allmendinger. His sponsor, Speedster 11. We're going to have the 4 championship contenders rolling off in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th position. And the winner of the qualification race for the Daytona 500 will be your starting position, your outside pole starter, and that'll be very interesting to see who that is. We're going to have a lot of guys that we thought would be racing in the full-time season that will not be racing automatically in the Daytona 500. Now you're going to have some guys that that have run a couple races in the season that will be racing in the qualification race. That means they will be starting up towards the front of the field for that race in particular. So with that said, now it's kind of time to go over what we're looking for here today at the Daytona International Speedway. And you've got to know that these guys, they have not drafted in a while, especially if you're going to race in an Xfinity car. You don't know how that's going to handle. The last time we ran Xfinity cars, the only time we ran Xfinity cars at a plate track was a year ago. And that was way in Miscraft Super Speedway, and now we're here in the Daytona International Speedway, a lot smaller than the Miscraft Super Speedway itself, and it'll be very interesting to see where these guys come from when we get to that point. But now we got 20 cars ready to lined up on the field. We're going to get them set to go racing here very soon, and it'll be a very interesting race to see what goes on the 3 laps. Those drivers will be out on the field. It'll be a very interesting one for sure to see where that comes from. You got a lot of guys looking for their first win, Cup Series wise, and they're going to have the Xfinity qualifying race, which they will have a chance as well to be able to get a win at. But now you got to understand that these guys are going to try and go bumper to bumper, side by side, maybe make a move 3-4 wide. And they got to be a little bit careful because they don't want to ruin their chances of making it into the Daytona 500. And it'll be a very, very interesting race to see how that works out. But that's pretty much what we're going to have to look forward to here. Now we got to make sure we understand what the conditions will be like. We got to understand what these guys are going to be doing. Because when you get hit bumper to bumper, a really big run, that could spin you out. Coming off the bank and you're unloading all the weight from that's going to the racetrack and it's going to go onto the flat, and you got to figure out how to contemplate and maneuver and counteract a lot of the moves that other drivers will make, and you just got to be able to understand what in the world you're doing. So these guys are definitely going to have a little bit of trouble, I'm sure, getting up to speed, but after that they're going to be a-okay. This qualification race, I'm not sure we're going to see very much passing towards the front at least. I'll probably say the guys towards the back will be a little bit more racy, maybe run it 3-4 wide. But the guys up front, they may run single file side by side, may not push as hard as you think they would. But the guy that gets the front row starting position will be the one that will be very happy out of the most happy out of the 20 cars qualifying in the first race. It'll be very interesting to see where that comes out at. But if you look at it, you got 2.5 miles. You got over 30 degrees of banking and the 18-degree tri-oval. And it's going to be a very interesting race. The shortest way around is the inside lane, but that's not always the fastest. You're going to get some really good runs coming off the top of the racetrack, off onto the straightaways. And maybe some guys dive down from the top side to be able to get a good run into the corner as well, which might help their chances at getting a good run at another driver to advance their position. And so the saying goes where you've got a lot of drivers that are really trying to get themselves a good starting position, and they just can't do it because they're in the back, can't really advance the position all that well. Well, you got to understand that one position can do you a lot of trouble, and you're going to probably see some guys quickly fall back, maybe the first lap even. Or you may not. You may see them jump single file all of a sudden. But it'll be very interesting to see where this race goes as we go on. It's only a 3-lap shootout with 20 cars, so it'll be very interesting to see where that goes. But it's going to be very interesting for sure to see where these guys run at, and we can't wait to see it. But these guys, they're going to have to be a little bit careful because the races that these guys run, it's not going to be the same as the guys that run the Cup Series race for the championship, the season finale. It's going to be very different compared to a lot of things. But on the Cup Series side, you're going to have a lot of factors that include with the bump drafting. You're going to have 3 really big manufacturers. You're going to have a lot more teammates, teammate trouble, I should say, when you get to the big show, when it comes down to the end of the thing. And these guys, they may have some trouble getting up to speed as well. You never know, but it'll be very interesting to see. First up, we got a qualifying race here at the Daytona International Speedway, so it'll be very interesting to see where these guys place out, because as soon as the guys in the Xfinity cars finish out their race, they will be going to a Cup car. And so with that said, it's just about time to get the racing started here at the Daytona International Speedway. Looking very much so forward to that. And yeah, that's pretty much all the preview we got coming out here. It's not really much in the sense of you know, who will be driving what. We'll figure that out later, because there's a lot of factors that will be going into that. But, it's about time to go trackside to get ourselves the command to go racing here at the Daytona International Speedway for the first qualifying race, the only qualifying race I should say. It'll be a 3-lap race. It'll be kind of a warm-up for those guys, so at least they're going to get a little bit more of a practice session beforehand. And we'll be back after a while to be able to kind of preview everything that goes on. And it'll be very interesting to see where everything goes when it comes down to the end of this race, because it's going to be very different. A lot of different intervals, you know, to take in. You're going to have a completely different body style than you'll be racing in the 500. So you're going to have to kind of take that into effect as well. But don't let that haunt you, because here comes the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Daytona 500 qualifying race, the last chance qualifier, may I add. And very, very interesting to see. But let's go ahead and go trackside for your command. And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal for today's qualifying race. Apparently his name, Italian Zombie.
Yep, that's right, sir. Alright, drivers! Yes, I mean you idiot right there. Don't catch it, did I? Start Johnny Jones!
And with that, we start the engines here for these 20 drivers ready to get rolling here today at the Daytona International Speedway. Very fun race to see how these guys take upon this 20 car field, 3 laps. We'll be back after this to get in Miscraft Cup Series qualifying. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. The car's rolling off of pit lane. And before we head off to the races, we're going to have a starting lineup preview here. As you can see, we got some guys, a lot of guys that you're not really going to expect to see here, like Corey LaJoie starting on the front row in the 19 car, and like Spencer Gallagher and those guys. But we'll get the green flag after this.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fire Lane NASCAR Talk Show. This is your one-stop shop for all NASCAR news regarding Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series and the Stop Motion Series on YouTube. And here are the drivers that made it into the Final Four. Kevin Harvick was not happy with the way he was raced last weekend.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. Ready to get going here. The driver is just about to pull off onto the front straightaway to get the race underway. Corey LaJoie and Ty Dillon will lead the cars down towards towards the tri-oval. Green flag is flying for qualifying race to try and get into the Daytona 500. Looks like Ty Dillon's already going to jump down right behind the 19 of LaJoie. Here comes a 33 up on the outside lane. The 11 of Galding tries making a move, but here comes the 41 of Eric Almirola, 3 wide to second. Leading lap number 1 is the 19 of Corey LaJoie. Here's Ty Dillon looking low. He's not going to be able to get there. As they climb to making turns 1 and 2. On the back stretch. We're gonna, oh, there goes a 3 sideways. He saves it somehow. He's gonna get right there on the apron, kind of slow up. As you see, the driver's taking that a high line. You got the 41 trailing the 19, but here comes the 9 on the inside. He's trying to get some ground made up. Corey LaJoie blocks in the white flag. Onto the back straightaway. Here's the 41 of Eric Almirola, I should say, with help from Ryan Reed to turn 3 for the final time. He gets to the corner panel. Here they come off of turn number 4. Eric Almirola with a good push from the 16. He will be your winner of the qualifying race and get the outside poles. A wreck coming to the tri-oval. Oh no, Spencer Gallagher spun. There's Justin Marks spinning as well. Oh man, you got the 60 car there as well. Look at these guys. Not a scratch for a lot of them, but then you got 5 drivers that wrecked out coming to the checker flag. You got a 3 of Ty Dillon there, as you saw, wrecked. Took it to the garage as soon as he spun through the grass there. Here's that replay. Looked like, yeah, he might have gotten a little bit loose off the front end of the 11. As you can see right here, yeah, the 11 was not necessarily right up on his bumper, but kind of got right there and definitely caused a little bit of mayhem. As you can see, the 62 trying to block the 60, trying to contain the position to be able to get a good run to get past the 6 car to get himself into the Daytona 500. But there is your race winner, your qualifying race winner, Eric Almirola for the 41 team, Stewart Haas Racing. And he will be qualifying on the outside pole for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 finale. So yeah, there are the cars that will correspond to the drivers that made it into the final, to the big dance, which will be the Daytona 500. And we're about ready to get those guys out onto the racetrack. But as we wrap things up here at the Daytona International Speedway, get the Cup cars out on the racetrack, ready to get going here, right onto the pit lane, I should say. And it'll be very interesting to see what these guys do when they come back around. And so we will get back to Miscraft Cup Series Racing after this.
Sometimes you just gotta stop and think for a bit. Think about what you want to do with your life and what's important. Not just you, but to everybody. You see, you can make so much of a difference if you just put your mind to it. And never forget about this one thing. You're not here alone.
He said you might be able to fool Dad and the cops and anyone else who will listen, but you can't fool another liar.
Why were you thinking?
Got 100 people asking why you did it. Did you plan it or not? I'm sitting here with hundreds of stacks of papers waiting to find answers, and you're not telling me any when you hold them all!
We welcome you to the beautiful beaches of Daytona Beach, Florida for the NASCAR Irwin Tools Cup Series 2005 season.
The qualifying race complete here at the Daytona International Speedway. We're ready to get the Cup Series race up and going. It is about time to get this one underway. And we're about to see what this one takes upon us as we come to even closer here. The Daytona International Speedway's Daytona 500, the finale for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3, is here. Your final 4 drivers will be running for it today to try and get themselves a championship for themselves. And like I said earlier, it is a 4-car battle for it. A lot of young guys. You got Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, William Byron, Eric Jones. 3 of those guys, their first season in this Cup Series, and it'll be very interesting to see a second season for Daniel Suarez. He did come halfway through the season 2 for the Cup Series about a year ago, and it'll be very interesting to see how these guys kind of take it into perspective where they need to be when the race comes to a close. And it'll be a 12-lap race to find out who will be your championship and champion and winner. And it'll be very, very interesting and fun to see as well where these guys come out at when it comes down to the fact that, you know, this is a plate track. Anything can happen. And you're going to be, all over someone's back bumper. You could get involved in a big one pretty early, pretty late, in the middle of the race. You never know. There may be some small crashes here and there. You got to try and avoid those as well. That's going to be the challenge of these four drivers if they want to be able to get into the Final 4. Survive with the other 3 in the Final 4 and get the championship that they think or maybe that they should deserve. And it'll be very interesting to see where these guys do, come out on top at who comes out on top. And, as you know, the top finisher of the 4 of the 19, 24, 20, and 88, the top finisher out of those 4 will be your champion. It'll be very interesting to see which driver is going to be that champion that I so speak of. And it'll be very interesting as well to kind of note that I'm not sure how these guys are really going to play nice to each other because you have 2 Hendrick teammates and you have 2 Joe Gibbs teammates that are running with each other. Will they play nice with each other if it's teammate versus teammate with the end? We'll find out. If it comes down to that, you're going to have the 2 teammates, Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. You're going to have the 2 Hendrick teammates of Alex Bowman and William Byron. And each of them did get a pretty solid result later on. At least early on in the season, I should say. You've got William Byron that got his first win at Charlotte, race 2 of the season. Ran very well at Bristol the week before, but did finally get it done in Charlotte the next week. And then you have the 20 of Eric Jones. He's the one that hasn't won out of the 4, but he did come very close in ISM and as well at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alex Bowman, he kind of just locked himself in by getting that win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He just wanted to make sure he was A-okay right up in there. He was already the points leader by at least 15, 20 points, but just wanted to make sure, I guess. So, that's pretty much what that stands forthwith, I should say. But yeah, these guys, they're going to be looking all over the place for real estate to be able to, contend with each other for this race. And it'll be very interesting to see, who comes out on top when it comes down to it. And you got a lot of guys that, came close to the Final 4, didn't make it in, but did get some wins this season. You got Kevin Harvick, who won at Darlington. And then you had the 47 AJ Allmendinger, who won race 1. And with that, he will be the pole sitter for today's Daytona 500. And then you have guys like Chase Elliott, who got the win at Michigan, who did not get a chance to race in the Final 4. You got guys that were really contending for the Final 4, like Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Clint Boyer. They were running really well with each other when it came down to the Final 4. They just couldn't get there. With that big incident that happened on lap 1 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, that really did kind of affect everyone's points race. Especially Denny Hamlin's, especially Chase Elliott's, and all the chase contenders involved in that one. And then you had the last lap crash with Larson, Boyer, and Busch, which kind of ruined the overall aesthetic of racing on the final lap. They did not expect, I'm sure, wreck on the final lap, but you know, everything goes how it goes, I suppose. But I don't know, they just didn't get the best look, I guess. So we're about to see who will be your NASCAR Mr. Cup Series Season 3 champion. About to find out who will it be the 20, the 24, the 19, or the 88. We're about to find out at Daytona International Speedway. Hello everyone and welcome to NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Racing. This is the finale at the Daytona International Speedway for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3. I want to welcome you to this 2.5 mile super speedway. Welcome back, I should say. A 40 car lineup is ready to take on this place, 12 laps. And it's going to be very good. We got 4 drivers looking for the championship in today's race. And it's going to be a really nice battle to watch here between the 88, the 24, the 19, and the 20. These guys are really going to have to fight for that win and for that championship with that as well. And these guys, you know, this is their first time for all 4 of them in the Final Four. And you know, you've got Alex Bowman who got his win in Atlanta. And you have, you know, the 24, William Byron, he got his win at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eric Jones came oh so close at ISM in Atlanta to being out of it or getting a win, and it was the 19 of Daniel Suarez getting the win at the ISM Connect Raceway that boosted him that really boosted his points into the Final Four position. That's where he got to. But now let's go ahead and get things started and go trackside for your command to fire the engines. And now it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command for the Daytona 500, the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 finale, President of Racing Manufacturing, Rhonda Debut.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Alright, there is your command given to us today. The car is roaring alive here on the Daytona International Speedway. When we return, we will go 12 laps racing with these 40 drivers in this field. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. We are live here, and starting lineup is here for you guys to automatically get into it. Row number 1, you're going to have A.J. Allmendinger and Eric Almirola. You're going to have the 4 chase contenders. You have Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez lining up for row 2. Row number 3, the other 2, William Byron and Eric Jones. Coming off in row number 4, you're going to have the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Machine and Brad Keselowski. Then you're going to have the 18 Kyle Busch and the 11 of Denny Hamlin, 2 Joe Gibbs teammates. Behind them, you have the 4 Kevin Harvick and the 42 of Kyle Larson. Then you have Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott. And then you have Kurt Busch and Paul Menard, 2 Ford teammates. And they're going to have Ryan Blaney and Jimmy Johnson. And rounding out the top 20, you have Clint Boyer and Darrell Wallace Jr. As you can see, the drivers running, the drivers going through the last little bit of the starting grid here. You can see where a lot of the guys now kind of took place in the qualifying race finishers are now kind of being shown now out of this 20 rows of 40 cars. It'll be a very interesting race to see here, the last race of Season 3 for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series. It'll be a very good one to see how this one turns out. When we come down to it, it'll be a very interesting race. It'll be a very interesting race, fun race for sure. And 2.5 miles super speedway. Here they come. Green flag flying for the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger. And the 88 of Alex Bowman gives him a great shove. Here comes his teammate, William Byron, on the inside. Eric Almirola already falls back 3 wide now with Suarez. And his teammate Kyle Busch spinning in the infield.
Already a huge crash on the back straightaway, and Kyle Busch is involved. You got Darrell Wallace Jr., a lot of the drivers that were really looking forward to having a good finish after their qualifying race. Looks like the 18 just got loose, maybe off the front end of the 78 car. Yeah, you can see right there, he must have gotten loose from the 78, tapping him from behind. I'm not sure what else there could have been there, but what a tough break for a lot of the drivers that were really looking forward to a great race today. And here are all the drivers involved in the crash. You have Eric Almirola, Truex, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Boyer, Elliott. Those guys, they were all looking for a championship prior to today's race. And here's some of the guys that tried racing their way in. It was a very vicious crash to start out for lap number 1. We'll most likely get back to restarting here on lap number 4. So we'll take the green flag back after this. Here we go. Green flag back in the air for the 47 of AJ Allmendinger. Coming down to turn number 1. He's got a good push, but here comes the 88 of Alex Bowman. What a great restart. Now the 2, the 21, and the 22, they make a third line. But on the inside lane, they stick the 47 and the 24 3 wide. On the front straightaway, Alex Bowman is going to lead that lap. 3 wide for lead. Here's the 17 of Stenhouse on the outside. But the 2 of Brad Keselowski takes the lead. He's got Paul Menard pushing him onto the back straightaway. They run 3 wide for about 7. Down the backstretch, top 4 single file. You got 3 Ford Performance teammates lining 1, 2, 3. And then you have Daniel Hemrick with the 88 bouncing on the outside. He's trying to get there. Down to turn number 1, Joey Logano makes a huge move to the outside. He goes up to block the 88 as he gets a good run. And he's going to spin. Up and over goes the 21 of Paul Menard. And they're going to spin down the back straightaway. Logano and Cole Custer involved as well. And the horrible tumble for the 21 of Paul Menard on the back straightaway here at the Daytona International Speedway. Let's take a look at this. It looks like the 88, yeah, it looks like the 22 tried blocking the 88, came down and just smacked the quarter panel of the 21. That turned him up and over right towards the outside wall. The 88 did a good job of avoiding that one. So did a lot of the guys that avoided to the inside lane there. As you can see here in real time, what a vicious crash for the 21 car right in front of the field. No idea how so many drivers made it through, like the 38 of David Reagan. On board again with the 2 of Brad Keselowski, and we will be back after this commercial break for the green flag.
They're all around me, circling like vultures. They wanna break me and wash away my colors. Wash away my colors.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fire Lane NASCAR Talk Show. This is your one-stop shop for all NASCAR news regarding Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series and the Stop Motion Series on YouTube. And here are the drivers that made it into the Final Four. Kevin Harvick was not happy with the way he was raced last weekend.
We welcome you back to the Daytona International Speedway. We just had a 3-car crash on the back straightaway. But we're going back green. Alex Bowman leads them down from the outside lane. Keselowski gets sideways. They run 4 wide to try to scramble. And it looks like Denny Hamlin takes the inside lane right behind the 47. They're 3 wide for third. David Reagan up on the outside lane. Here's Daniel Hemrick with a good push from the 19 of Suarez and his teammate Eric Jones to turn 3. Alex Bowman, he's been up front so far this whole entire race. He's been trying to lead as many of them and get the championship. Here they come. 3 laps to go. Hemrick trying to get to the outside. Now Bowman blocks. He goes down to the inside lane. Here comes the 19 of Suarez on the outside. Side by side for a second. Kevin Harvick makes a third lane. The 88 gets put in the middle down the back straightaways. The 19 and the 20 come to the outside. Here's Hemrick. He's trying to
find some really stand on the inside lane. He's not going to be able to get there to the quarter panel of the 19. Side by side, dead even for the lead, but the 19 prevails. 2 laps to go at Daytona. The 19 to Daniel Suarez. He looks low, looks high, blocks the 20 his teammate. Here comes Alex Bowman and Kevin Harvick on the outside lane. Casey Kane storming up through the middle. Down the back straightaway. He's going to look up. He's going to look down to the inside of the 20 and the 19. He makes it 3-1. Suarez just barely blocked. Hemrick still looking for the lead on the inside. Here's Jones on the outside with the 88 behind him. White flag in the air here in Daytona. Eric Jones leads it down. Here's the 19 trying to find some momentum. 4 wide for third. Harvick on the outside lane. Jones leads out of the back straightaway. Suarez and Kane side by side beating Megan. So is the 20. He slides. He's up into the wall. Into the air for a moment. As the field wrecks behind him. Prevailing to turn 3. Casey Kane and Daniel Suarez. Onto the front straightaway. Suarez looks high. He's not going to be able to get there. Casey Kane wins the race here at Daytona International Speedway. And Daniel Suarez is your Season 3 champion here in the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series at the Daytona International Speedway. What a finish to end out the season. Daniel Suarez is your champion. Here are your race results. Casey Kane with the first place finish. Look at the 2 Joe Gibbs drivers. Daniel Suarez, your champion, and then Denny Hamlin, who flipped last race, I should say, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then you got some guys like Matt DiBenedetto, Cody Ware, Corey LaJoie, Reed Sorensen, the guys in the top 10 that you would not expect to see there. A lot of the drivers you would expect to see there are really going to be the ones towards the bottom as they wreck towards the front of the field in today's race. Like you see the 22, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr. in the 78. You got Kyle Busch there, Kyle Larson, Elliott. Elliott won a race this season and just sadly did not have the finishing results in today's race, finishing 32nd out of 40 cars. As Chris Buescher, you see there running out the 40-car field today for the race results. As we look at the standings, the final point standings, it's Daniel Suarez taking home the championship. He will join Denny Hamlin and Dale Earnhardt Jr. for championships in the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series. And as you can see, the top 4 right there, and Denny Hamlin finishes 5th on the first car outside of the final 4. But that was as you can see there, a lot of close drivers, a lot of close races there for sure. As you can see here, you got a lot of the guys that really didn't have much of competition, if you would want to say that, to kind of bring home any sort of points days or anything like that. You got Ty Dillon there, who only raced, I believe, 1 race this season, crashed out in the qualifying race today. Got a last place finish in one of those races, but 1 point for him to finish out the season in 30th. But that is pretty much it for this NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 season here at the Daytona International Speedway. We do thank you for watching today's race, and we do want to say congratulations to the 19 of Daniel Suarez and ODST Productions and the 95 Casey Kane and Farmers Insurance Cup Series for the wins and championship today. And we will be back after a commercial break for post-race. We'll be back after a commercial break for post-race coverage and also some previews for Season 4.
If you would like to join the series, spots are limited. Please do contact me through YouTube or Discord. Link in the description below.
we welcome you back to the Daytona International Speedway. I want to thank you all for watching today's race here at this Daytona International Speedway. The finale of Season 3 came to a close today. Daniel Suarez is your champion. ODST Productions is your champion sponsor. Casey Kane is the final race winner of the season. And his sponsor, Farmers Insurance Cup Series. Thank you to those guys for sponsoring. And it was a great race today. As you saw, we had a lot of we had a lot of incidents. As you saw, Kyle Busch got loose on the first lap off the front end of the 78, collected a lot of cars. Some such as Eric Almirola, who wanted to have a good day. You had Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, some of those guys that were really looking for good finishes, which they did not have this season. At some points, you had Truex leading the points, and Jimmy Johnson was leading the points at some points of the season. And, it just didn't come down to it in the end. And it was Daniel Suarez taking home the trophy after everything started to spike up. As the season went on, he came oh so close with the pole sit, and then came second or third, top 5 finish at least at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he lost to William Byron on the final lap. And that would have boosted his points day for sure, especially even with the win at the ISM Connect Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona. But we will be back after this for a little bit more coverage. But that was pretty much it for coverage for post-race. We're going to talk about Season 4 coming up in the next couple months here. And we'll see you then.
They're all around me, circling like vultures. They wanna break me and wash away my colors. Wash away my colors.
Alright, so NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 4. Yes, the 4th edition is coming out very soon. The first races will be this late spring. In April, most likely. Sign-ups will be March 1st at 5 p.m. And it'll be a very interesting first race to watch. And the first race will be at the Chicagoland Speedway. Just a little bit of hint there. It's not official in any advertisements or anything like that. I'm just telling you right now, that's what I'm planning on doing for the first race of the season. As you saw, I just wanted to mention, as you saw in today's race, you saw some very nice looking graphics for our Cup Series race today. I want to thank you to Maxwell. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. There's not much NASCAR or anything on there, but I will leave a link if you want to go and show him some support on his videos about what cool graphics he made for this video and for this race today. And there will be many more of those races with those graphics coming out, especially in NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 4. But with that said, the races will have to be uploaded a lot more space, I suppose you could say, because of the fact that it's going to take a lot more time to produce these races now. But anyways, looking forward into the season, we had some great finishes, some great racing and stuff like that in Season 3, and it all came down to the wire, who had more points and what, and how one guy who dominated at certain points of the season, and then it came down to Alex Bowman, and when you reach ISM Atlanta, and then coming to Daytona where he dominated here, but then wrecked out on the final lap with Eric Jones as well. They ran 3 wide there, and you can tell that it really all comes down to the last lap, especially when you're racing on a track like Daytona. So we will return to Miscraft Super Speedway as well for Season 2. There'll be 2 plate tracks, I believe. A lot of mile and a halves and stuff like that. It'll be a 10 race season. So it'll be a great. Well, I'm not sure if it'll be 10 races and maybe 8 still, but we'll figure out what we're doing then. It'll be very interesting to find out, who starts prevailing as the season goes on for the next one, because in this one you notice that there were a lot of younger guys kind of come up and show their strengths. Will they be the ones to prevail in the next season, or will we have some of the older drivers like Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray even? Will they come upon the racing series and start getting some wins. As you saw today, Casey Kane got his first Cup Series win, at least Miscraft Cup Series win today, and you know, that was a very special win for him, racing in the 95 car instead of the 5, which he ran at Hendrick Motorsports, which now belongs to the 24 William Byron, but in the 24 number, as you know. But the Miscraft Cup Series Season 4 will be coming up very soon. You'll want to catch up as soon as possible on the signups, because I know there will be a lot of people wanting to sign up for that, and right now we don't have a lot of people kind of on the series, so it'll be just a single sponsor, single driver kind of deal. We might change up when we win and if we go to Season 5 within the next year or so. So that's something to look forward to. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching today's race here at the Daytona International Speedway for the NASCAR Miscraft Cup Series Season 3 finale. And other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. There will be a highlights video coming out very soon. There will be behind the scenes video and all that stuff coming very soon as well. Hope you guys did enjoy today's race.
Looking forward to the restart. But now we're going to restart lap number 9. 2 laps to go. Green flag in the air before Kevin Harvick is going to slide by to turn 1. Not a good corner. Now here comes Alex Bowman right back to where he started to first. And Denny Hamlin follows in second as they come around to take the white flag. Denny Hamlin right on the back bumper, the 88. The 88 looking for his first win of the Cup Series. This might not happen as Denny Hamlin clears to the backstretch. And at turn 3, the 88 gets his back bumper and turns him. They save it.